Hello, Christopher Gillingham and Ed Worley and John Emmett. That's two from the UK and one from the US here in the early moments of this show. Countdown to what's going to be a fun show, number 554. A lot of video in this one, no guests. We are guest free, as they say today. John, I'm sure, is happy. John Emmett, happy to be back in Leamington, in Weymouth rather, back home in Weymouth. It's Gillingham's Chris and Jane who are in Leamington. Pedro Foiling Sailor is there up early in the morning, 0600 in Sydney.
3 from Down Under?
Yes, already. Where it's Wednesday morning. Chris actually checking in from Salem, Mass. And let's get this one off the dock.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Studio B once again for show number 554. I see that Guy Briere is already checking in saying happy Tuesday and looking forward to seeing everyone at Tinsley. Well, you'll see some of the guys up there, including me. Looking forward, Guy, to seeing you as well. We'll have our FOSI Andrew McIrvin with us. He's flying in today. In fact, when I was preparing the show at Dark 30 this morning, Julia, he was just out at Heathrow, about to get on his plane.
Oh, good.
So we had a bit of a chat. That is Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin. I trust you're well. Julia?
Oh, yes.
Any hot tips?
Waiting to listen to all the wisdom I hear today.
Well, I don't know if there's a lot of wisdom. I think it's mostly just great videos from this wonderful sport of ours. So why don't we get into it, shall we?
Yep.
This, as usual, our pre-start from Castle Cove Sailing Club in Weymouth. And we were talking on Friday about what, Julia? That was international. It's on the lower third on your monitor.
Oh, yes.
Grenache.
Oh, Grenache.
See it? It's on the lower third there.
Oh, yeah, Grenache.
Grenache Day, and in Spain it's something else. But you see, after we talked about, in fact, we dedicated that segment to, you know who that is? Monica Diaz in España. And we said we knew that because I checked with her before the show.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, yeah, I'm a Grenache drinker. And she then poured herself a bottle.
Good for her.
That night, she watched the show on replay and she checked in and said, "Oh, well, I've got a bit of a dusty head this next morning." She sent this over the weekend, so we'll rededicate the show to our FOSI Monica Diaz after Friday's show.
I was going to say when I saw it, it looks like Monica Diaz, and yes,
right. And she's on. I see that Monica's on with her 4 smiley faces. Matthias Collins, nice to have you back, sir. Carlos down, presumably in South America. Carlos Aviz. Hello, Carlos. Looks like he's got the Eiffel Tower behind him. I wonder where he is. Peter Selwyn down in Auckland. Alistair Murray. We've got an AAAA for you today. He's heading off to Phuket for a 2-week holiday tomorrow. First time overseas in 3 years. They're letting him out of Melbourne jail.
Yay!
They've locked up that community, tighter than most. Tier de Jong's in Yorba Linda, California today. Ted Ryman in Cape Town. Guy Briere, Guy, don't call me Guy Briere. Yeah, we mentioned him. And Greg Phillips is making his way now. He's in New Brunswick, and Greg is heading down to Newport, and he's going to be at the check-in with me over the weekend about going to the museum.
Oh, good.
And he said that is the Sailing Museum.
Yeah.
And then I had talked to Heather Rusum
about doing
and put them in touch, and she's going to give him the grand tour when he gets there. I presume he's with his family or wife or somebody.
Taking video?
I don't know if he's going to take any video, but maybe if you're able to do that, Greg, that would be great if you shot a little video there with Heather Russom, the superb executive director of the Sailing Museum.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just want to go back to Friday's show because we had so many nice comments in the show and notes afterwards on our show 553 with Andrew Pindar, who led our tribute, and many of you submitted tributes. It was just a wonderful show. My mother loved it, and a lot of other people did as well. This photo from yesterday, you just cannot believe how perfect that whole, what was it, 8 days?
Mm-hmm.
The timing down to the second, this beautiful ceremony at Her Majesty's, the wrap of her state funeral, and then the private commitment and the bagpiper. I think anybody who didn't shed a tear, Julia, when that private, that was her personal bagpiper, who apparently there's several of them, and I
thought there was only one, and he did it every day for her.
That's apparently true. As Andrew McUrban was at Heathrow, I texted him, and he texted back, and then several other people said, that, in fact, Andrew Pindar, I think, and others said, yes, that's true. She played a different song every morning for her out in the garden. And there may have been one or two others. I mean, you can't do that 7 days a week. I'm sure there were some other standards.
For the Queen?
For the Queen.
Of course.
But it was some kind of a ceremony. And whether you got up here on the West Coast at, 400 and watched it, maybe even earlier, 0300.
Oh, yeah.
Or watched it in replay, as many did. It was a fabulous session. And I think, Julia, you loved this Paddington Bear, that video of Her Majesty. And in the words of Paddington Bear, I don't know how to better sum it up, that thank you, ma'am, for everything. Beautiful touch. Her Majesty the Queen, Elizabeth II, born in 26, lived to the ripe old age of 96, and what a fabulous gal she was. I hope our British friends don't mind me calling her a gal, but she was regal, she was down to earth, and a great contributor, not only to her country and the Commonwealth, but to our entire world.
Absolutely.
May she rest in peace. Julia.
Sir.
Do you know what day it is today? There's your one and only clue.
Pepperoni pizza day.
It is indeed. Did you guess? Was that a guess?
That was a guess.
Huh? Yeah. It's pepperoni pizza day. And if I'd had a little more time this morning, I would have ordered one and had it delivered. And right now I would have served you a pizza. But you can't, I don't eat lunch till 3. I don't eat breakfast till 3.
Yes.
Pepperoni pizza at this time. That's for me, that's an evening meal. What about for you? You'll eat it any time of the day.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't...
You and Alfredo.
Yeah.
Now, do you know how this pepperoni pizza got named? I love the way some people write in the third person. It is believed, that sounds like Richard Gladwell writing, it is believed that the first pizza was created in June of 1889, the first pepperoni pizza, by Raffaele Esposito. Good Canadian hockey player? No, a different Esposito. Phil Esposito. But this Raffaele, a pizza maker at the time to honor the Queen of Italy, Margherita of Savoy.
Aha.
I had no idea. He created the pizza margherita, a pizza topped with tomatoes, basil, and mozzarella, which represented the tricolore,
yes,
the 3 colors of the Italian flag. Pizza has evolved since that time to include a multitude of toppings from anchovies, and pineapple, double, that's pineapple's okay, but sausage and bacon, add more and more as far as I'm concerned. But pepperoni is still the most popular. What's your favorite pizza, Julia?
The grand combination, the combo.
The combo.
That has everything on it.
Veggies, onions,
3 kinds of
pepperoni,
meat,
sausage, ham.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Why is a round pizza put in a square box and eaten in triangles? Jody Shields is asking. He's a math wizard. That's pretty good at 9 minutes after 6 in the morning down there, Jody.
But there is an answer to that.
What's the answer?
I don't know, but I've read one.
Jody better give it to us.
Yeah.
Gordon Smith is saying banana in curry pizza is a thing in Sweden. Just saying. Oh, my goodness.
Isn't that interesting?
Isn't it? Ted Ryman, he says it's his favorite pizza. Jonathan Frank checking in from Galveston. Oh, Galveston. Only one bagpiper, Gordon Smith says. There are not other stand-ins or fill-ins. Apparently, Julia, I saw that the bagpiper also, after doing his piping in the morning, also then helped her with other things, was a companion and a helper around the castle and maybe in her daily life beyond just piping.
Yeah.
Kind regards to all the FOSI, Monica Diaz is saying. You were saying.
No, it doesn't matter now.
Peter Taylor is checking in from New York City. Don Lunabos up in Sonoma. And let's carry on a program note, and that is that you know what that is, Julie, of course.
I do.
And that is St. Francis Yacht Club's retreat that they bought, what, Julia? 60 years ago? 70 years ago? It was in the 60s, wasn't it?
Yeah, 60.
That is St. Francis Yacht Club's Tinsley Island in the Delta, up near Stockton. It's in the San Joaquin River, the Sacramento and San Joaquin Rivers up there in what we call the Delta, near Stockton, California. The weather is going to be fabulous. It's going to be 80 to kind of 85, Julia.
It's worthwhile to see that is also an ocean-going estuary, well, not estuary, but river. Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, it goes right down to San Francisco Bay, and
with huge
volumes of water
and ships.
And ships, yes, right by, not quite by the island, but nearby, and they go up to the port of Stockton. And do they still go to the port of Sacramento? They used to go to Sacramento, the state capital, but I don't know if they still get up to these big ships.
Some ships do, but I don't think the biggest ones do. Stockton's is 80 miles inland.
It's a good haul up there. If you leave by boat going at 10 knots, it takes you on Thursday as everybody leaves the yacht club, and it takes the better part of the day to get up there. And of course, the festivities begin at St. Francis at 0600 in the morning, Thursday, with Dixieland jazz and great food and plenty to drink all 4 days. The St. Francis Stag Cruise is also, that's all men. There's also the club last weekend hosts their women's cruise, which is equally fun and entertaining. I have the great pleasure and honor of producing, I'm the showrunner, producer, director for the member show on Friday night, which involves the better part of 50 members in the cast and crew. I can't tell you more about the show. It's one of these things that you really can't play except at the Stag Cruise. It's pretty Julius, but it's fun. Some of you will be there, and it's what goes at Tinsley stays at Tinsley. It has nothing to do with other than foul language and some good old juvenile fun. And that is Friday night. And I have all for the first time in memory. In fact, nobody's aware that there's been a member show with all three flag officers, Rear Vice and Commodore, and the chairman of the board. And I have 5 staff commodores also recruited in the show. So and it's frankly, I think it's pretty funny. I think it'll be okay. We'll see. You never know until you get up there and turn the lights on and you get in front of the crowd. We had a dress rehearsal last night, and you always come out of dress rehearsal thinking, "Oh my God, this thing is never going to fly." But it was actually pretty okay. Yeah. They say the worse the dress rehearsal, the better the show. So. Oh dear. That is Tinsley Island. That is a reminder that I'll be there. I'll be up in the Delta, staggering, as they say. Not really. I'm pretty tame. I have to be able to produce this show Friday night. Nonetheless, we will have no show here on Friday. Take the day off, enjoy a long weekend from having to listening to us gasbag on our Sailing Illustrated Friday show. Let's get to the starting line. And let's get right back into it. John Emmett, who actually submitted 2 videos today. He didn't submit it. I pulled one off and asked him if I could use it. This first one is really seeing him for the first time, maybe in action. It's a video, very nicely done, of him coaching in this Emerging Nations program in Scheveningen in the Netherlands this past week or so. Have a look.
Another lovely Dutch day. Sun is shining, but we're here on the North Sea with a lot of current, and this is going to be one of the most important things for the upcoming regatta. Not only thinking about ley lines, but also just getting across the start line. And I do expect people to be touching the marks, and that could be a race winning or race losing maneuver. Not going to be much room for people who turn up late. And this is my office for the next 2 weeks. So the nice thing about coach regattas is you can get up close and personal to the boats, to really look at the technique, not only of your own sailors, but of the rivals. And video work, as we have here, is absolute part and parcel of the modern day training camps.
I really like these conditions, and the tide makes it difficult, so it's nice.
I think it's great, really. Like, I've never seen something like this. In Peru, there's nothing similar, and it's great to be here as well.
In the sport of sailing, you have to be very good at waiting.
Hi, my name is Marco and I'm from Serbia.
And you're here training with the Emerging Nations program, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So is this the first time you've done the program?
Yeah, that's right.
And what do you think about this sailing venue? Because I guess it's the first time you've been here as well?
Yeah, this is my first time. Conditions are very difficult, currents, wind, waves, everything. And I'm getting used to it, so I think it's going to be good.
The Emerging Nations program is a program for countries that lack of resources, and this program consists in trainings and support for these countries and sailors around the world.
Okay, that's it. Tomorrow will be the last day of racing because we're taking 2 days off. So the whole fleet is now on port. Current is just starting to decrease. Just looking at the mark, you can see how much current is on it. So you have to sail quite fast just to stay still. You can see the mark actually looks like it's sailing away from us.
Now, was that nice or what?
Super.
Great production values. Thanks, John Emmett, for that report from the Emerging Nations program there in The Hague in the beach town of Scheveningen.
Yes,
Scheveningen.
nice plug for Emerging Nations sailing too.
And nice video. Nice. I mean, those kids will take that home. It's a memory for life, and they'll see that. It's fabulous stuff, John. Now, John had a struggle, Julie, getting home. He didn't. His first Sunday flight was canceled. That regatta wrapped over the weekend, and they got blown out.
Yeah.
For 2 days. He probably heard him say on Friday he didn't expect they'd be able to sail, and they didn't. They got really windy and rough. But this is a test event for next year's World Sailing Championships of all these Olympic classes.
Venue?
In that venue. So it was a test for the race committee and so on. So that's why John was there. And then getting home was a struggle, to say nothing then of the Queen's funeral yesterday. And he had the British Air canceled his flight, and he ended up having to go someplace else to a different airport. I think he was City Airport or Luton instead of to. But nonetheless, he did file a report en route. Have a look.
Wow.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the FOSI. You join me for something a little bit different. I'm here in Schiphol Airport, making my way back to sunny Weymouth, see how it goes. And yeah, this is me and all my luggage at the beginning of a journey.
Yeah, so we'll set that into the contract. So we need to have all of the details.
With my laptop very safely attached to me. Right, safely checked in, and now off to odd-sized baggage. And then the queuing begins. I know sometimes it's quite hard to tell where the queue is because it seems to be going both ends. Oh, the glamorous life of a coach. So, passport control, queuing. And I can't help but notice that they had to put a special little sticker for UK on the end because no longer EU. Gotta like the Dutch lounges with beer on tap. Now safely on the plane, so I can finally relax and off to London City Airport, where hopefully I'll catch up with A Boot because we ended up having to get different flights, but we're landing in the same place. And look who I found at the airport. Right, and my van's turned up, so made it from City to Heathrow. Final step. Hello.
Hello. Welcome home. I'm preparing for tomorrow's interview for Deca Ferry for the ocean race.
So I made it. As you can probably see from the background, I'm back in Weymouth, and I won't say sunny Weymouth because, well, actually, it's probably near the golden hour. So I made it back for date night with my wife. So you can actually notice I now have a camera person, so I'm hands-free. Good to get back from The Hague. A lot of time to think and be philosophical. I mean, I need to put together a video about the test event, but it's quite hard to do that when there wasn't actually any racing. And those teams who were mobile, they had trailers, ribs, vehicles, a lot of them left actually on Friday. The Brits left and came back and raced Saturday, Sunday at a qualifier. Personally, I was helping deliver the Emerging Nations programme, so I stayed and we did lots of gym work, and we talked about putting campaigns together and all this sort of thing. But yeah, I've always been a fan of big training blocks because I think it means the amount of time you get to sail in relation to the amount of time you spent travelling gets much better. But yeah, to have an event where we didn't get any racing, it is disappointing, and especially when it was saleable. The top sailors, a lot of them went out every day training, but they couldn't run the racing because I think the committee boats, etc., weren't up to the task. So I guess that's why we have a test event, so that we find this out now as opposed to next year. I mean, I saw they were using the robotic marks, and I have to wonder how they would have survived with strong current and big waves. I guess we will never know. But yeah, I'm just off for a couple of beers and dinner, and see you later on the show.
This is the best part of the film.
Yeah.
Everybody watch this.
Yeah.
Number one, we now know where he drinks.
Yes.
At least one of the places. One of his pubs.
Yeah.
They're all saying, who's this minor celebrity walking in with
I
a
know.
television
Yeah.
crew behind,
Yes.
notwithstanding it's his wife, but it's Lily.
Yes.
Nice, eh, Julia?
It was very nice.
Thanks, John
Yes.
Emmett, as
Yes.
always. And that, of course, courtesy, Julia, of
John Emmett Sailing.
Get to the Front of the Fleet. A lot of comments here. Gordon Smith, back to the Queen and her Piper. The Queen gave the Piper time off. Gordon, of course, a Brit who's living in Denmark, time off when his wife was ill with cancer, the Piper's wife, and kept his post open for him. They didn't get a replacement in the meantime. She wanted to know he was appreciated. Julie Aaron's checking in from Cleveland. It's slowly turning into fall and getting cooler at night. It's football season here in the U.S. now, our American footy, gridiron, as some of you call it. Yes, Ed Worley saying cargo ships still go to Sacramento all the way to the state capitol. And legendary stag, Tom Fishbeck says, been invited to too scared to go. Doesn't it start Monday? No, it starts on Thursday and runs through Sunday, Tom Fishbeck. John, very worrying news, which while this is going on, 4 areas of Ukraine currently under Moscow's control have announced plans for urgent so-called referendums on joining Russia. Yeah, this thing's far from over, and I don't know. Let's don't get into that. Facebook user, that must be J. Frederick Bland. Now, Reveille, all hands out and trice up, give a clean sweep fore and aft. The smoking lamp is lit in all authorized spaces, something you never hear on a submarine. James Frederick Bland in Austin. Thank you. Pretty okay. Yeah, I'm a half German, so Guy, we always say we downplay. Yeah, you know, the Germans say, hey, how was that? Well, it was pretty okay.
Yeah.
When it's really good, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. You never know till you go live on Friday night at 2100 in front of 500 guys. We'll see. This was the Emerging Nations Program. Nice video, John. PER Peru, Stingray. Peruvian, and there was an Uruguayan, from memory. I think coaches, J. Frederick Bland, I think coaches on a regatta race course should not be allowed. It interferes with the competitors, and it is an unfair advantage to others. Training days, go for it. Well, that's an interesting question. We'll debate that sometime with James Bland and Stingray and whoever else wants to weigh in. Yeah, nice videos. Both Peru's J. John sail at Rio de la Plata. Then you will enjoy current Matthias Collins, who grew up in, I think, in Connecticut, now living down in Brazil. Cool vids. We're getting spoilt, aren't we? Yes, we are, Gordon Smith. Totally agree. Beautiful productions. I think both the ILCA 6 and 7 Peruvian sailors, are names to watch for the future. Yeah, superb video, superb. Everybody agreeing. Time to spare. Go by air. Jonathan Frank, of course, a commercial airline.
Of course.
Pilot for United Airlines. Some back and forth about trains not functioning. And this is interesting from Stingray. I left Schiphol, that's the airport in Amsterdam, early one morning and noticed a big uniformed and armed security guard drinking a beer at 7 a.m.
As they should. They got to wake up.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. What else? AYC, Austin Yacht Club, has changed over to robotic marks, but that's in relatively flat water lake conditions, isn't it, J. Frederick Bland? They actually swing less than the anchor traditional marks. Yes, depending upon, of course, how deep it is. Julie Aaron's ruining the fact that her Cleveland Browns aren't playing great, but what's new? I just realized I missed the final slide from that video. Okay, John's left a link to that. And again, that all courtesy of John Emmett. Sailing Get to the Front of the Fleet with Coach Emmett, and we appreciate his submissions each and every show.
Yes, and it's getting better and better.
Keep going. You want to say more?
No.
Okay.
Right.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you with the intro to that slide. This is this day in history. And this is a kind of not a repeat, but a reprise of what we did on Friday when we said what happened on 16th of September, 1942. And of course, that was Dennis Conner's birthday. Here he is at the press conference in 1980 when he won, what did he win, 4-0 or 4-1? I can't remember, with Freedom in 1980. And he's talking with the late great Bill Ficker, who emceed the press conferences in those days in what we called the Rhode Island, the Newport Militia, the Armory, and that is where the new Sailing Museum is, and of course that's where Greg Phillips is headed to on, I think, October 10th from memory. So we did this little session, Julia, with Dennis on Friday, as you'll recall, and somebody has sent me a video, asked not to be named, but no big deal, because the video is kind of cool. But of course, Dennis came back after losing in 83 and then came back to win it in Frio in 87. I tell you a funny story, Julia. After the rehearsal last night at St. Francis, I went down to Chestnut Street with a friend to have a quick snack because I hadn't eaten anything. I'd had a peanut butter sandwich or something before I went over to the club. Went down to Della Rosa, the Italian place, and there were 4 Kiwis, young Kiwis.
Yeah.
And they may have been with one Aussie, I'm not sure, but they were young and they were loud and they'd had a cocktail or two. It was great fun. And they start talking about the America's Cup. And this one kid is, I could hear him. We're just sitting right kind of behind them. I love the America's Cup. I know more about the America's Cup than just about anybody. And then he went on and on and on telling his mates about everything, and he was off.
I was going to say,
or dead wrong about everything.
I know.
But he was enthusiastic, telling his friends about what had happened here, and he didn't remember the years. He remembered the years, but he had them wrong.
Yeah.
He couldn't remember the year that the Kiwis had won in San Diego, but he knew they'd won in San Diego. He said it had been 2005. I said, excuse me, hey, not that we're listening to what you're saying, but I've been involved in all of them since 1980. You have? Really? They didn't believe me. You're too young to look. I said, excuse me. You're very kind.
Oh, yes. And he gets younger and younger, right?
Hardly. But it was good fun. Good fun. And
how did it end?
It ended, they kind of didn't believe me, frankly. So we were polite and had a glass of red wine and walked out.
Yeah.
Dennis, after losing, and I said, I was in Auckland, lived in Auckland a couple times. I lived in Perth. One of the kids was from Perth or had lived in Perth. And
Yeah.
they didn't believe me. So Dennis, I mean, you run into some old fart in a
Yes.
bar.
Yes.
And a nice, it's a bar restaurant on Chestnut Street. He
Yeah.
says, oh, I've been to every America's Cup since 1980. Yeah, right. Dennis with the late great President Reagan in after winning the cup and bringing it back as promised, and there's George Bush. But here's the video that we did not play on Friday.
Historian Bob Fisher has reported on 15 America's Cups over the past 46 years, many involving a U.S. legend who became known as Mr. America's Cup.
The 12-meter era is encapsulated really by Dennis Conner. I mean, he's the man who did more time in 12 meters than anybody else. And certainly he had a string of successes. He also lost the cup in 12 meters, but he regained it. He had some great moments too.
Ticker tape parade up Fifth Avenue and the lunch in the White House, and all those long days and sleepless nights were pretty easy to forget.
He also had moments of utter despair. I shall never forget seeing him coming ashore after he'd lost the cup in 1983.
My life came completely apart and I was shattered. No, I wanted to see it in Newport the rest of my life.
But he was back on form when he got out to Australia and in Fremantle took the cup back in a dominant manner. Dennis had some very magic moments in press conferences that were all his own, one-liners which he probably regrets having said. Certainly one that he said in Fremantle on occasion when he accused the Kiwis of cheating by building a boat in glass fiber, which was perfectly allowable.
If you want to build a glass boat, why would you do it unless you wanted to cheat?
Whoa, whoa! I don't think he should have said that, but
I'll take it all back.
I don't think you can, Dennis.
And he had another one later on when he was sailing a catamaran against the big boat in 1988.
I'm sailing a cat. Somebody else is sailing a dog.
Dennis Conner was without doubt Mr. America's Cup. You can't think of 12 meters and America's Cup without thinking of your man there, Dennis Conner.
That nice video that was produced. I can't remember. One of the previous America's Cups did historical features, vignettes, and that was one with the late great Bob Fisher, who was
he was good in that.
He's really good, and a dear friend of this show. As you know, we did quite a tribute to him when he passed away a year and a half or so ago. Was it 2 years by now? But anyway, I thought you all would enjoy that video. It really put DC Birthday Boy into focus better than anything else I think that we did, or anything else that anyone else has ever done, for that matter. And belated happy birthday, Dennis, on your 80th, which was last Friday, and best wishes for many more. Let's go to the comments, Julia. Yeah, James Bland saying Lake Travis, which is there in Austin, is 200 feet in the main channel of the lake. Wow. 4 mile fetch. It can get big, short chop and a blow. I've never sailed at Lake Travis. I'd like to do that. James, invite us down. Luca Craig, who's down in Auckland, saying, talking Dennis the birthday boy, last night watched Untold, the Race of the Century on Netflix. Yeah, which we promoted here on this show a number of times. And what'd you say? Luca didn't take an opinion, Julia, did he?
Well, enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it. Okay. Anything, Shades and Doors, that's a bold move. There was a lovely story about the Queen bumping into an American tourist who didn't know who yeah, I think I ran that, John, on the show here not too long ago.
Yeah.
Too, I think the day after she passed. He wrote a tremendous book set on AC history. Yes, Bob Fisher did. And it's Peter Taylor agreeing it's a very nice video.
Yes.
Okay, Bravo Zulu is up next, and we want to congratulate those events which we were covering these past, week to 10 days. And the first one, of course, was the Resolute Cup in Newport, Rhode Island. There's a nice shot of Harbor Court. We had the Commodore of New York Yacht Club, Commodore Z. Zabatakis was on, a week and a half ago and gave us a good preview of the Resolute Cup, which ran the 12th through the 17th of September in Newport, Rhode Island. Lovely Newport, Rhode Island. And we can tell you that the winners were the Corinthian Yacht Club. They were leading, and they won, I think, both races the final day. Corinthian Yacht Club, and we've confirmed it is of Marble. Well, one of you told us here in the comments, Marblehead, Massachusetts, because there are a number of other Corinthian Yacht Clubs, including across the bay here, Julia, right over in the North Bay. One down in Dallas, Texas, I know, and others. But Bravo Zulu to Corinthian Yacht Club in the unique format of the two-stage event where they have a qualifier, 2 different fleets, and the top, I think, 6 of each fleet went in then to the finals. They had 2 fleets of equalized boats. Has traditionally favored sailors that, I'm reading this press release from New York from Stuart Struley, that have been here before. But skipper Wade Waddell, all of 25 years old, and his team of Doug Saban, Duncan Swain, and Miranda Bakos, Resolute Cup rookies, all 4, turned that paradigm on its head by finishing 14 of 16 races inside of the top 5 and winning the regatta by fully 9 points.
I hadn't heard that. That's great.
So bravo Zulu to them. That was, I think that wrapped Saturday night, and a nice prize giving. And we have a nice video from that regatta. Have a look.
So we're really excited about the win. Very close racing with the San Diego Yacht Club and tricky conditions out there. So we're stoked to come away with a 1-1 to seal the regatta. This has been a goal of the club for a really long time. You know, long work to get here and a lot of hard work from everyone at our club, not just the 4 sailors. So we're really happy and yeah, really excited to qualify for the Invitational Cup and can't wait to get back to the club.
This week at New York at Resolute, it was a tough week of sailing. We did our best. We managed to get the win in the silver fleet, so we're very happy as a team. The excitement was nonstop. Every race, you knew you had to do well. You couldn't afford any mistakes out there on the race course. And then this whole time preparing for the event, we really, as a team, I thought got together a lot. We did what we thought we needed to do, and we kind of went from there.
2022 Resolute Cup is sponsored by RS Sailing, a manufacturer of the RS-21 and other fine sailboats, as well as Helly Hansen, Safe Harbor Marinas, and Hammett's Hotel.
You see this comment from Ed Worley. Wow, sailors racing without computers and hydraulics and control pads.
Yes.
What a nice video. That's from Icarus Sports. I think that's a German-based company. We'll go to the results here in a sec. Chris Exley saying, hooray for the local team. Chris up north of Boston on the North Shore. And, we have a standing invitation now. Hopefully we will get some rain in October and top up the Lake Austin a bit. I'll go down Travis Lake, right? Lake Travis, down in Austin, down some 30 feet from full pool currently.
Wow.
But back to Harbor Court and the results. It's interesting how we talked with Commodore Z and others in the meantime, but this is the Gold Fleet. Corinthian Yacht Club has qualified, as you heard in that excellent video, for next year's Cup, the big Invitational Cup, by beating San Diego Yacht Club, which, San Diego won this event in 20. Did they win it in 20? I'm back and forth now, a bit confused. I think they won it in 2018. Or did they win the Invitational Cup last year? I'm now confused. But this long list of top-notch yacht clubs. Julia, your club didn't do so well, finishing 9th.
No.
But not bad. And Austin Yacht Club, of which we've been talking at least about their lake, and right down to Seattle Yacht Club 12th in the Gold Fleet, in the championship fleet. And then in the Silver Fleet, you saw the kids from Southern Yacht Club. Now, Southern has already qualified for next year's Invitational Cup, so they didn't send a quote-unquote A team. They sent a youth team. And those kids then won the Silver Division. That is some fine yacht club and sailing year-round down there in New Orleans, Southern Yacht Club. And those kids, that kid who was interviewed, Julia, the tactician,
yep,
Dwight LeBlanc, I think it's Dwight LeBlanc Jr., I know his dad and his grandfather. I mean, that's how and they're all Flying Scot sailors that I raced against over the years. And what a fabulous yacht club, Southern Yacht Club is.
Oh, it is.
Down there on Lake Pontchartrain in New Orleans. Any of you ever get a chance to go down there, that is Hospitality City.
It is.
It is, you go down to Bourbon Street, listen to the Dixie Jazz. But Bravo Zulu to this team, the Silver Division winners from Southern Yacht Club. And I did manage to get their names. Ricky Welch was driving there on the left. That's Dwight LeBlanc, the guy who did the interview on the video. Richard Boo, I guess it's Heusler, and Mia Newman. Bravo Zulu to them, as well as to the winners from Corinthian Yacht Club, winners of the Gold Division, and that is Resolute Cup 2022. Now, we've been telling you also about the Star Worlds, which was taking place up in Marblehead, talking about north of Boston. At the Eastern Yacht Club, there's 3 big clubs up there, Eastern, Corinthian, and Boston Yacht Club. And this beautiful flyover with the drone of Eastern Yacht Club was hosting the 100th anniversary of the Star class. The Star Worlds hosted by Bacardi at Eastern Yacht Club wrapped up on the 17th, that also on Saturday, and the winners led most of the regatta. They repeated, in fact, the winners from last year that we told you about on Friday, Diego Negri and Sergio Lambertinghi. A solid third place in the final race from those two was more than enough to reward them with a gold at the 2022 Star Worlds. For Negri, winning the 100th anniversary championship marks a successful defense of his 2021 Worlds title, while Lambertinghi, I think is how you pronounce that, debuts his hand on the trophy. A return to light, shifty conditions for the final day was the perfect conclusion for that pair. Quote, "It was really a tough championship," said Negri. Quote, "And today these tricky conditions for the last race. It was not easy waking up at 0600 to be ready for the regatta. I knew that in these conditions, we are the best in the world."
Wow.
Continued Negri on this morning's race expectation. So bravo Zulu to them. Fabulous performance twice in a row. They are at the top of the class.
And that's a great fleet.
Oh, and those pictures, I'm sorry I didn't include more pictures, but there's only so much time we have in these shows. But I do have a video on the 100 years of Star Class, and they go back. It goes way back, and it's a fabulous video. Have a look.
There's a starman waiting in the sky. He'd like to come and meet us, but he thinks he'd blow our minds. There's a starman waiting in the sky. He's told us not to blow it, 'cause he knows it's all worthwhile. He told me, let the children use it, let the children use it, let all the children do get.
Nice.
How was that?
Great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bravo Zulu to the Star Class, to their winners again of this year. And I'm not even going to go. You can go back and find everybody who was in the top 10. Chris, actually, yeah, great for the Eastern as well. They call it the Eastern up there in Boston, not Eastern Yacht Club, the Eastern. From where did the Storm Trysail Club come? Well, that's a little bit different kettle of fish. Lakewood took 8th. They're back on the Resolute Cup. Jonathan Frank saying, just happy they made the cut. Yep, Dwight is D4. His dad the third was okay, so that's Dwight the fourth. Thanks, Guy Briere, of course, is down at past Commodore of Southern, is coming up here for the Stag Cruise. Guy, we're going to have some fun.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Jay Rendell, I was at Southern Yacht Club for the one-of-a-kind regatta decades ago. Indeed, I was too, Jay. Fritz Mueller, he has also podiumed so many times. Who are we talking about? Dennis, or are we talking? Oh, you're talking about Negri. Ed Worley one was the last year the Star boat sailed in the Olympics.
Last one.
No, one before that, I think. There it is, 2012. Emmett's got it. Lots of great sailors sailed Stars. Yep, sorry. Royal Sydney won the 2019 New York Yacht Club Invitational. SDYC was second. Okay, we'll have to set that straight. But Bravo Zulu to the Star class.
Yes.
Fabulous video. I'm glad I found that. It was just published here.
Oh, good.
I guess on the occasion of the 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a good
very nice stuff.
And then it was taken out of the Olympics because it wasn't good enough.
Well, it's just absurd. It's absurd. That class and the Finn should both still be in. And then everybody says, yeah, but what would you take out of the current crop? Well, look, let's don't get into that. We've debated that on and on and on.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm surprised Jonathan Frank hasn't said anything, or anybody else, about your corner there, Julia. We've got a new setup for you.
Yes.
In your corner. And
with the great painting.
That great painting by Jonathan Frank was a gift from Jonathan and Barbara to us.
Yes.
And he calls that more oil, more hydro. Hydro. That's from the 2013 Cup here in San Francisco when the Kiwis almost capsized. And that's we've got that over Julia's shoulder here now in Studio B. Mm-hmm. Thanks again, Jonathan Frank, and to Barbara for that.
It shows off much better right there.
It does. And let's go now to Bravo Zulu for the Rolex Big Boat Series here in San Francisco that took place over the last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, wrapped up on Sunday in a rainy, kind of breezy day. We had a nice prize giving that got moved indoors. And it was it was a great event, 80 some odd boats. Yes, the boats aren't quite as big as they used to be, and there's some criticism that it's more of a J Fest, but there are big one design fleets, and there are some big boats, and there are some classics. And it was a fabulous regatta, enjoyed by all. And here is one of the best Rolex Big Boat Series videos that I think I've ever seen.
There is no better racing than the city front in San Francisco.
It's legendary to sail out here. This is my 22nd Big Boat Series. I'd say balls to the wall and hang on.
Exciting, you have the adrenaline going, everyone around. Sail hard, sail fast, appreciate every moment.
We love Big Boat Series. There's nothing beats it. It's the best regatta on the bay every year. You know, we love the big wind, we love the big boats. It's super fun and look forward to it every year. Club crushes it. This is the flagship event for the club, and they put out the red carpet or green carpet.
I think the club is honored in tradition. They love this regatta. It's their baby. Not only do they give us some of the best sailing conditions, and they always open their doors. It's great to have Rolex as a sponsor.
You know, it's a competition, it's camaraderie. We just love racing in San Francisco Bay.
It's like a great combination of intense racing from 8 o'clock until 5 o'clock every day, and then you party late and come back the next day.
Friday nights are fun with the rum.
Great times, great friends, you know, great people we know here. Great competition. It's a brilliant regatta. We love it.
Well, what'd you think of that?
It was good.
That's what it looks like out there right now. It's a live shot from the Bay Cam up on top of St. Francis Yacht Club, looking over to Sausalito. The bridge is just to the left. A much calmer day today. But I grabbed some photos from our good friend who's been here, the clockmaker, Danielle Forster, who's back for the first time in 3 years shooting for Rolex. Sharon Green's been here and others, but you remember Daniel's been on the show twice, maybe more than that, but for sure twice in the last year or so when we did his photo collection from non-America's Cup racing and cruising, and then we did that fabulous America's Cup retrospective, I guess you'd call it, Julia, looking back, right?
Yes.
Very popular shows, and these are photos of his. I just grabbed a few. That is the Mayan, and this is owned by our Vice Commodore, and he is this boat's terrific. We talked about this with Staff Commodore Ken Glidewell when he was on the show. And it belonged to, remember who it belonged to? Crosby, Stills, Nash.
Right, and Young.
And Young?
Yes.
David Crosby, the yacht Mayan, owned by Bo Froelich, our Vice Commodore. Here's another Danielle Forster shot. Julie, what do you call this bay?
What do I call it?
Reliably.
Oh, reliably windy, iconically beautiful, and reliably windy.
Either way works.
Yeah.
These great shots, all from this past weekend. The J105s, which is the largest fleet and arguably the most competitive.
108 of them.
Yeah, there weren't that many here at the regatta, but there's a bunch of them, that's for sure. That's a pretty good wrap-up of the Rolex Big Boat Series here for 2022, and their sponsors in front of your club, Julia. Really, you've been a member here forever.
Yes, almost 50 years, and sailing out for 60.
And a really nice video from that Up Top Media is the name of that company. I've got it in the credits, thanks to them. As we look forward now, look over to the Atlantic coast. As you probably know, the hurricane season has been a little late in coming this year. Normally it gets underway before this. The delayed start to the Atlantic hurricane season. We know that those of you in Japan, got hit by a typhoon here over the past week. But Hurricane Fiona went through Puerto Rico over the weekend. It was hit particularly hard with a near total power blackout, more than 1 million people without running water. National Guard troops have rescued hundreds of people stranded by mudslides and flooding. But the crisis continues. The U.S. territory hadn't fully recovered from that last direct hurricane hit, which destroyed the power grid, exasperating, thank you, Fiona's power and infrastructural damage. Now, Hurricane Fiona is not expected to make landfall, as you can see here, in the continental U.S., but will likely hit Bermuda and may reach Canada's Gulf of St. Lawrence by the end of the week. As the system travels north, it will cause elevated sea states and difficult conditions along the eastern seaboard. NOAA's National Hurricane Center has issued advisories for the Atlantic, including Bermuda, as you see here in this. Bermuda right there in the purple area, which is the 90 percentile likelihood that this hurricane is going to go across Bermuda.
They don't need that.
So they don't need it, but it looks like it's going to be up there shortly. So we're thinking about all of you in Bermuda. Anybody that got knocked, I don't see that we've been knocked off. Maybe it did something on Facebook. I see Facebook still working here, but maybe we got some kind of a problem, but I don't see that.
No, I don't.
We're live and in color here. So we'll be thinking about you in Bermuda, and those of you who've already had a rough go of it in Puerto Rico and elsewhere down there in the Caribbean. Hopefully this is the last one of the year, though not likely. We have disappeared from Facebook. I refreshed and it totally disappeared. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. We seem to be on YouTube. I'm looking at us on Facebook.
I am too.
On my, I guess, I don't know if, no, I'm on the Sailing Illustrated Facebook channel and I seem to be there, so lost you on Facebook. Well, maybe we got somebody didn't like that music at Facebook. We're dealing strange stuff with Facebook, and I don't know what we're going to do. But I still see us on Facebook myself.
Mm-hmm.
So we shall see. I still see us as live. But we are for sure live on YouTube. So if you've lost us on Facebook, please do go over onto YouTube. That brings us to A4, an awesome anecdote from Alistair.
Ooh, good.
G'day, Tom, Julia, and all the FOSI at Sailing Illustrated. Well, here I am out on the water, and if I just pan around, you can see what's happening here. This is a dinghy start at Sandringham Yacht Club on a Sunday, and we have just sent the race away, doing my race management duty down here at the club. That's a great way to spend the day. I'm spending it here with my mate Matt Himpson. So Matt, say g'day to everybody from Sailing Illustrated.
Hey guys, how are you all doing?
You'll see the Sandringham Yacht Club behind us, and that's a fantastic yacht club that we're both a member of, and it has 3,000 members and is one of the best yacht clubs in Australia. So we're doing our stint as race management. We like to sail here, but part of the deal is that you get rostered on occasionally to get out on the water and provide the sailing for others. And how much are we enjoying this, Matt?
Absolutely loving it.
Pretty good.
We've really put the weather on today.
Yeah.
Lovely. I think we just built up to about 8 knots coming from the north, and yeah, trying to get us. We've just got our third start away, hoping for a fourth for the afternoon.
Everything's going pretty well, except they did forget to feed us. So we got down here, the regular canteen was closed, both canteens. The yacht club didn't have any rolls or sandwiches, so we had to come out with a couple of pizzas just to keep us going, but that was pretty good.
Pretty good, I think all in all, I think we won.
Yeah. So on Sailing Illustrated, Matt, you know, I'd like to introduce the world to a few Aussies. It's Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote, this feature as coined by Tom and Julia, and we're meeting you today. So tell us a bit about your sailing background.
Well, my background, I started as a 10-year-old in the little off-the-beach dinghies down in the little island of Tasmania, down in Hobart. Grew up there, taught to sail by a whole heap of volunteers, mums and dads. Really nice little community spirit. And I've, just continued to develop my sailing from there.
Just excuse me, Matt. We've got a couple of interlopers. John and Dave here. They're laying marks for us. We're filming a segment for Sailing Illustrated the USA. So wave and say hello, Tom and Julia.
Hello, Tom and Julia.
Yeah, but they've just been laying the marks for us. We're just filming a little interview here. Thanks for dropping in. Thanks for dropping in, Dave and John. Anyway, Matt, sorry about that, but that's part of the way we run this. So yeah, you were telling us about your sailing, and
so I just started at a small club with mainly volunteer run little organisation, and then have developed. I've sailed around the world. I've done some teams racing in England. Done a couple of World Cups in the 49er. Lots of teams racing, lots of match racing, and so much so that I've loved sailing so much I've turned into my day job a little bit by doing a heap of coaching and work for Australian Sailing up in far north Queensland, developing all the clubs up there.
Great. Yeah, and what were you doing for Australian Sailing?
I was a club services officer, so liaising with all the volunteer clubs up and down between Cairns and Rockhampton, and just supporting their each club build their own little community of volunteers and aspiring athletes.
And you're now sailing the probably the best class in the world.
Only the best class because Al's in the class, and he's the real driver and spirit, and he's the man who makes the class so appealing. So.
We're talking, of course, about the
Taser.
The Taser, and Matt sails with his partner Carly, and that's probably the best thing about the class, isn't it? That it's perfect for male-female combinations.
Very, very competitive fleet, but also very, very sociable and very supporting and encouraging. It's really what the spirit of sailing is all about.
Yeah. And race management, we don't do it that often, but when we do a great job, don't we, Matt?
We have had a few cards fall in our favour today, that is for sure. We're definitely making it look easier than what it actually is. This is both our first time volunteering to to run a course for the club, but dare I say it won't be the last.
No.
I mean, ultimately, all this club level racing is all based off volunteer support. So
Exactly.
all too happy to our turn to finally come around, and we can put in as to what we've enjoyed so much over the years.
Yeah, exactly. Sailing, as you said, Matt, very well, is a sport that relies on its volunteers. Without the volunteers, it would be nothing. And finally, I always like to ask the guests, what does sailing mean to you? Matt, is it just something to do, or is it a bit more than that?
Well, as I mentioned before, sailing's turned from a hobby and a recreation into an income for me for a while. It was a career for a while, and it still is. I work in marine construction, building marinas, boat ramps, all sorts of infrastructure like that. So, I've really turned, my love for sailing and being on the water has fortunately turned into my day job. So.
Good on you, Matt. Well, pleasure to meet you, and I know the FOSI, as they call them, which is the Friends of Sailing Illustrated, we'll enjoy it. We'll get you to dial in and have a look at the show as well.
Sounds great.
Tom and Julia, it's the breeze is picking up. It's up to about 13 knots now, but it's an absolutely beautiful afternoon. Bit cool, but it's just great to be out here. It's always great to be out in and around sailing, isn't it, Matt?
Sure is.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks, Al.
Okay.
Cheers,
see you
guys.
Bye.
How was that?
Great.
The best one yet.
Yes.
Having that walk around of his yacht club was terrific too.
Yes. Yeah, no,
Good
it's
fun.
really wonderful.
Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. It was. I don't know where that knot came from. It's from an old graphic, but it was a terrific segment. Thank you very much, Alistair, and that is much appreciated. Those of you that apparently we had a problem with Facebook because of something going on with one of those musical pieces. Somebody must have used some music in one of those videos that was not rights free. Peter Taylor saying, Tom, the multi-platform distribution strategy is great. Yeah, we're on YouTube. That is the Sailing Illustrated TV YouTube channel. My personal Facebook page, where I see that we're still streaming, and also on
Facebook.
My personal Facebook page, also the SI Facebook page, and my Twitter feed. But maybe we just got to bite the bullet, Julian. Sooner or later, just got to go to the website, and we'll get some kind of a streaming commenting platform there, and everybody can just go to the Sailing Illustrated website instead of relying on these other content providers. But
the staff of 45 will take care of it.
Yeah, that's right. We'll work on that. Some America's Cup news.
Good.
A couple pieces here. First of all, they've launched the AC40 that we've been telling you about. This is their first boat. I don't know if they're calling this Boat 0 or Boat 1, but the first boat. And they've done a tow test. Have a look at this video.
Hugely exciting day for the team. Massive amount of nervous excitement. We're now getting towards the final end of the commissioning phase, so we want to tow test the boat to make sure that it behaves how we sort of think it will on the foils, but like any high performance boat, you just don't know what's going to come our way today. So very excited, very nervous, and hopefully we're still smiling at the end of it. So just
everything went pretty well. It wasn't too difficult, to be honest. There's not a lot of load on things when both boats are foiling, and yeah, the hydrogen boat's been great and it's doing what it should be doing, and we're having a pretty successful first day with the AC40 as well. So no, it's really good.
Seemed to go pretty well. Pretty cool being on board the hydrogen boat, and yeah, it's not until we see the boat sailing that we'll tick off a few more things and have a bit more confidence. But good to tick off the systems and see the boat foiling around under tow, and it all seemed to go well.
Yeah, I think there's people on board, Gordon. Yeah, Peter Taylor saying out there, you can see the heads above the gunnels. Any word on the hydrogen chase elephant boat prior? I don't know. That's I haven't been following that. But another America's Cup segment we've got for you today is a Cup History Challenge. It's kind of a trivia question prepared more or less weekly now by Ed Worley. Thanks, Ed. And he said, in keeping with Sailing Illustrated being a drinking show with a sailing problem. That is today's submission from Ed Worley, and his question is about the yacht America crossing the Atlantic in 1851. This is a photograph made near you, Gordon Smith, in Copenhagen, of a painting by an unidentified, presumably Danish artist, but one never knows, I suppose. And this is, of course, America's Cup history, the FOSI challenge for today, the 20th of September. The question from Ed Worley: what was the secret cargo that the yacht America carried on her Atlantic crossing to England? Actually, she first went to France, reprovisioned there, and then went across over to England. But nonetheless, she carried a secret cargo.
Bourbon.
Close, but no cigar, Julia. A secret cargo the yacht carried on her Atlantic crossing, first to France and then to England. Any other ideas, Julia?
Well, tobacco is something they had, but I don't think that was it.
That was not. Any of the FOSI know what secret cargo America was carrying on board for her Atlantic crossing? Give you another few seconds to comment, and then we'll answer it for you. I think everybody's Googling. They're Googling like crazy. I can hear them clicking on their keyboards. The answer, nobody's commenting. The answer is Commodore Stevens had placed 24 bottles of 50-year-old Madeira in a secret compartment in America before she left the U.S. The Commodore had intended to toast to the health of Her Majesty the Queen with his, Queen Victoria, with his English hosts. The value of the Madeira is, Ed Worley saying, was valued at double the price to build America. It's a little hard to believe, but if that's the case, that.
I was right in remembering it was booze.
You were indeed. But the story, there's more here to this story, Julia.
Yes.
There is an 1800s Madeira bottle. And there's, of course, Commodore Stevens. And the secret cargo was not discovered by the crew. In fact, was forgotten by everyone, including Commodore Stevens. And I don't know if this is true or apocryphal, but I've seen it. I've also seen this written elsewhere. Until after the America had to be sold and returned, and Commodore Stevens, had returned home. I don't know if he ever recovered the cargo. I have to go to John Rumanier, who wrote about that.
Yeah.
In the Low Black Schooner, and see what happened. Okay. Anything else? I guess we stumped everybody on that. That brings us to one last video for today's show. Over in Spain, I'm thinking of you again, Monica Diaz, where the Hobie 16 Worlds are going on. Terrific stuff. Have a look. 15th through the 29th of September. Costa Brava.
After 7 races in the Masters Cup, today we start with 4 different categories. These are the categories for today.
Great Grandmasters.
The women's category.
Somos categoría Youth.
Categoría Grandmaster.
Skimming across the sea, over the waves, flying lights, it's fantastic. Great.
It's like a meditation. It's your concentration is only there. Everything else disappears, yeah?
And definitely learning a lot whilst we're out there. You learn so much on the water, it's crazy.
We can do this today for sure, and we'll rock it on the water.
Stay upright and sail the course.
And sail fast. Yeah, and have a good time. Have a good time.
Lots of fun.
Going out in the water, having fun, so this is a very special feeling here. Go Team Jersey! Team Jersey!
How was that, Julia, for a cool video.
Yes, it was.
The Hobie 16 Worlds going on till the end of this month on the Costa Brava in Spain, not too far away from Monica Diaz. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot here in the D block, Julia.
Yes.
And this is one of the funniest things I think I've seen all week. Have a look at this video from the UK.
Oh, reminds me of the old service issue ballpoint. I remember every agent would carry a pen that looked just like this. Completely innocent to the untrained eye, but click it twice.
I saw that at Dark 30 this morning when I was in here preparing the show, and I thought, should we run that? It's kind of it's just the day after Her Majesty's funeral, but that has to be. And then when I forgotten about it, and I ran it. When I ran it, I looked at it again as I was going through the whole show after putting it together, and I guffaw. You probably heard me upstairs, Julia, when I was laughing. Okay, we got another one. Thanks, Andrew Pindar, a Brit, sent us that one.
Yeah.
And the next one is from, it's from Greg Phillips, our Aussie friend, traveling across Canada. Dear Queen, sorry to hear you died. I really like listening to your Bohemian Rhapsody, Joey B. Is that bad taste? It is if you're a
Or has
Democrat.
no taste at all.
Or no taste. Okay, that's our thankfully short D block today. Thanks, Greg Phillips, for sending that in. Gets us to the finish line. And just to remind you all that this weekend is Sail GP. I didn't see any videos out of Sail GP, but they're back in Andalusia in Cadiz as the European leg of Season 3 comes to a close with the Spain Sail Grand Prix this weekend, the 24th and 25th, with practice racing on Friday, the 23rd. Sail GP this weekend in Spain. Julia, your witness.
Yes, there's some nice video on here to share, so take the opportunity to like, follow, and share.
Indeed, and the comments welcome even in replay, and we get hundreds of comments for each of these shows, and we do appreciate them, as we do appreciate your support on Patreon, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. Give us a few bucks a month to help keep us on the air. Julia, final thoughts?
It's been quite a week.
Has been. It has been, and for me at least, it's going
to be another week.
It's only getting busier, and we appreciate all you do for us. And I'll miss you for 4 days.
No, you won't.
When I'm up the stack.
It's nice to say that, but you won't.
And just a reminder, no show on Friday because I will be up at the Stag Cruise up in the Delta this Friday doing the member show. And we will be back, however, next Tuesday. Hope to see you then. Have a great weekend, wherever in the world you are. And sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.